One of the hardest things that you can encounter in your life is having an acute injury that makes you get something like a surgery. And I know this firsthand. I've had 5 different knee surgeries over the last 20 years, 1 on my left and 4 on my right. So I have a lot of empathy for people who are experiencing knee pain. Now, how this happened for me is I was trying to better my ability to move my body. I was doing gymnastics. And when I came down, my knee caved sideways and I tore my ACL, MCL, LCL, quad, and meniscus all in one shot. Now I had 3 surgeries after that, all of which failed to restore the range of motion and the function of my knee. And then I had kids, started a business, and just said, hey, forget about it for a long period of time. But over time, it wore down my meniscus to the point where my knee would dislocate when I would step off a curb. I would fall down sometimes, and it was really embarrassing and really uncomfortable. Until finally, a couple years ago, I did have a successful knee surgery, and finally, I'm able to do the things that I want to do again, running, playing sports, doing all sorts of things with my body that I couldn't do because of this knee injury. And so this video is a little bit different of a tone than our other videos, but what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you the 3 steps that I used to rehabilitate my knee to make it feel amazing again. And I hope that these 3 steps help you rehabilitate your knees so that your knees feel amazing again and you can get back to living the life you want and doing the things that you want with your body. Okay, step number 1 is making sure that you have range of motion in your knee. In a perfect world, we should be able to bend the knee all the way and then come back up to a straight position. Oftentimes when people have knee pain or knee injuries, they build up scar tissue in their knees and it doesn't allow them to bend their knee all the way. But part of the reason that's happening is because all of our muscles get tight and the scar tissue gets thick around the knee and this knee pushes together. It doesn't create a lot of space in the knee joint like this. And so when we go to bend our knee, it's really tight, everything's tight and we can't bend it, okay? And so what we need to do is we need to create space. We need to have the bone lift up as it comes down and glides forward like this rather than compresses like this, okay? And so how do we do that? Well, we have to create space in the knee. And my favorite strategy is something called gapping the knee. So what you'll need is a towel that you can roll up into a nice tight circle like this. It should be pretty large. The more range of motion you've lost, the larger this circle needs to be. The less range of motion you've lost, the smaller this circle needs to be. So here's how this is gonna work. I'm gonna put this behind my knee like this in a kneeling position. Now, make sure that you're kneeling on something soft on the opposite knee. I don't want you grinding your kneecap into the ground. Put a pillow, 2 pillows, do this movement on your bed, whatever you need to do to make sure that you're not grinding your knee into the ground. Push this rolled up towel behind this knee and hold it there. And what you're gonna do is this, you're gonna come forward, and as you come forward, this is creating pressure between the 2 bones. And when it does that, it's opening the knee joint up, allowing the knee to glide forward on the meniscus the way it was meant to move. Now in this position, what you can do is just move forward and backward, just creating space inside the knee. And you could do this for around a minute, ideally every single day. Oftentimes when people have range of motion restrictions, even more than that can be helpful, like twice a day, okay? Now, after you've done it for a minute, what you can do is you can come back, you can take the towel out, and then you can measure and see, do I have more range of motion in the knee joint? Typically, what people will feel is that there's more space and more range of motion in the knee joint that allows you to flex your knee all the way into the bottom position. Now, practice this consistently to consistently increase your range of motion in the knee. And over time, that extra space is going to make the knee hurt less and make your knee feel better and help you function as well. Now let's head on over to step number 2. Okay, step number 2 is muscle activation. And the most common muscle that falls asleep after you have knee pain, a knee injury, or knee surgery is your quad muscle. So we have to reactivate your quad muscle and get it to become stronger, building that mind-muscle connection so that it protects your knee joint when we get to step number 3. So here's how to activate your quad. You're gonna start in a kneeling position. Now, first of all, make sure you're kneeling on something soft. It could be a pillow or a rolled up towel. This knee that's touching the ground, there should be no discomfort on the kneecap whatsoever. From there, you're gonna take this leg and you're gonna swing it out to a 90-degree angle. So if you look down, you're gonna have this leg out to the side and your back leg is gonna be coming back like this. Now, from there, if your foot's cocked to the side like this, I want you to go point the toes straight towards the ground. So you can think about lifting your heel towards the sky. So don't let the heel fall to the outside like this. Lift it up just like that. Now, the first and most important thing on this movement is to push the top of your foot into the ground the entire movement. So the top of my foot back here is gonna push into the ground. Now immediately, you're gonna feel your quad muscle activate when you do that. Now, as we do this movement, keep your toes pushing the ground on the back foot, and you're gonna drop your hip backwards, slowly toward that back foot. Make sure there's no pain, only go as far as you can with no pain, pushing that toe into the ground, and then to bring your hips forward, push the toe into the ground, and imagine that toe is pushing your hips forward like this, okay? Slowly but surely, come down, pushing the top of your foot into the ground. You might start feeling your quad shake and activate. That's totally normal as long as there's no pain. Only go as far as you can with no pain. And then extend the hip like this. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna do this movement for around 60 to 90 seconds, which is usually how long it takes for that muscle to really start to fatigue, even if it's shaking and things like that. And you're gonna do this every single day to start working on activating your quad. Now, how do you know if this is working in your life? Well, if you step off a curb or go downstairs, it should reduce the pain, discomfort, or ability to go off that curb and downstairs. You should be able to walk a little faster without pain, run maybe even without pain, because when we strengthen our quad, it helps us decelerate motion more effectively using the strong muscles that protect our knee. Now, once you've done this, let's go to the next move. Okay, step number 3 is movement education. Now, this is the most important step, but make sure that you gain range of motion and you activate your quads before moving on to this step, okay? Now, I'm starting in a kneeling position because the most important thing you're gonna wanna focus on is as you look down at your thigh bone like this, is your knee going the same direction as your toes? Oftentimes, the reason why people have knee pain or end up with an acute knee injury in the first place is because when they stand up from a squat or a lunge or on every step they take, their knee caves inward like this and is going this way while their toes are going this way. This is gonna put a lot of unneeded pressure on one side of the knee, which is gonna create tons of pain in your knee. So the number one thing I want you to focus on as you work on your movement education is knee going the same direction as toes. That one thing is gonna protect the knee and absolutely change your life when it comes to experiencing less knee, okay? Now, I don't want you to start in a kneeling position though. I wanna bring us up to a standing position, and I wanna make sure that you have a chair or something around you for support. Now, what we're gonna do is this. We're gonna start in a lunge stance. So one foot's forward and one foot's backwards. I want the majority of your weight to be on the front foot, almost like you're kind of leaning forward over that foot though, okay? And I want you to imagine pushing that foot into the ground the entire time. So the weight should be mostly on the heel, about 70% on the heel, and then 30% split between the big toe and the pinky toe side of the foot. Now from there, as you come down into the lunge, using whatever support you need on your hand and making sure your knees go in the same direction as your toes, I want you to hinge through the hips, slowly bend that back knee until you get to a point where you feel the shakes start to happen, okay? When you're in that position and the shakes start to happen, hold. Hold for 5 seconds, hold for 10 seconds, and then slowly bring your body back up to an upright position, okay? And that's what we're gonna practice. Going down as deep as we can, very slowly, making sure that knee goes the same direction as the toes. Most of the weight is on that front foot. We're just using our hand and our back foot for support until we get the shakes in that leg. Now, it shouldn't just be your quad either. If it was just your quad, it'll actually pull your knee together. So we wanna make sure that we're bowing forward from the hips, keeping our back nice and flat, not rounding our back forward like this, okay? And pushing the foot down into the ground so that we're activating our glute muscles. You could think about it like this. We're trying to do this motion right here. We're trying to extend the hips and extend the knee at the same time. Now, when you're practicing this, you can practice it every single day or multiple times a day, because really what we're building is mind-muscle connection and mind-movement connection, where we're making sure that we're mindfully moving our body as we hinge to the knee and the hip, making sure that we're strengthening these muscles, feeling all the muscles, the quad, the hamstring, the glutes, even the core firing all at the same time, holding for 5 to 10 seconds, and then coming back up to the top position. Now, practicing this one thing is going to strengthen your leg muscles and make sure that you have the balance and symmetry you need in the hip rotators and the hip abductors and adductors, which are gonna protect the knee because it's gonna prevent it from wobbling from side to side. But make sure you don't go too far too fast, okay? If you're only going this far down until you get the shakes, that's totally fine. Over time, you can increase the range of motion with the eventual goal being able to hover with your back knee right above the ground with the majority of the weight on your front knee, feeling your glute and your quad firing, making sure the knees go in the same direction as your toes, and holding for 10 seconds to build the strength that's necessary to do just about anything you want to do with your body. So, practice this every single day, consistently, at least once a day for about 1 minute. If you do, you'll re-educate your movement and it will carry over into all of the other areas of your life. From standing up from a chair, from walking up a flight of stairs, it will change the way your knee feels and you'll be so happy that you followed these 3 steps. There you have it. 3 steps that are gonna make your knee feel significantly better. I use these 3 steps to completely recover from some really devastating knee injuries. And if you follow along to these 3 steps, you can too. Hey, if you like this video, then I highly recommend you check this out next because it's gonna help you even more. Oh, and if you want our team at WeShape to build you a customized home workout, well, just click this link right here and use our free workout builder tool. Also, remember to subscribe.